Good evening. We'd like to call to order the October 26, 2017 agenda and regular meeting for the Port Arthur Independent School Board of Trustees. This evening time is 5:30. Mr. Lofton is not here, and we're going to ask Reverend Mr. Barty to lead us in our invocation this evening.
Let's bow our heads. Almost gracious Heavenly Father, we come to you, Lord God. Thank you for this opportunity, Father God, to sit down and discuss the PID business, Father God. I ask that you would watch over us and guide us and help us to make decisions with a clear and conscious mind, Father God. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
We have the pledge to the United States and Texas flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
We'll have our roll call to establish quorum.
President Frank,
Here.
Vice President Ambrose, Secretary Brown,
Here.
Trustee Barty,
Here.
Trustee Hillary, Trustee Lofton, Trustee Reed.
Here.
Quorum has been established. Our mission statement. Our mission as the primary source of public education in the community is to meet the unique educational needs of our diverse population by providing a comprehensive quality education for the students of the Port Arthur Independent School District. We'll now have our public hearing on schools first.
Thank you, President Frank. It's always good to bring to you good news. Our school first report card, of course, our rating is superior once again. So we would like to thank all of our executive members, our principals, our teachers, and everyone who helps, even without knowing that they're helping with our finance report card. Mrs. Jean's office does a magnificent job of getting everything done and making sure that the money is spent correctly. So we thank Mrs. Jean, and I will ask her to come to the podium and just talk about the school first rating.
Thank you. We are, as Dr. Porter said, proud to present to you an A rating. Some schools have problems with this, but we are just really pleased that we have been looking and we work extremely hard to try to make sure that we're in compliance with TEA. It's too funny, I was talking to TEA just this week because we're trying to get ready for our audit to bring to you in February timeframe. And as you know, we've got some difficulties because of Hurricane Harvey. And as I talked to the gentleman, I reminded him the school first report. He assured me that if we delayed our audit, it wouldn't be a problem. I don't know if y'all remember those that were here back with Hurricane Rita. We did not get our audit done in time, and we lost our rating. So we don't want to take that chance. So y'all bear with us this year as we attempt to ensure that we will again make our goal of A. That's our objective. Are there any questions in regards to the report? It's set up just like it always has been in the report. It gives you a comparison between this year and last year and what our numbers are. And you can see at a glance the ones that we're not at 10, that's where it's lower. It's one on liability, and then on administrative costs. Administrative costs, so it's not 100%, so it's under the goal. So it just kind of gives you an idea of where we are, what's being measured, and how we stack up against the other students. And then this part of the book, it shows you our conflict of interest. It first shows you the expenses that have been incurred. And it's just a summary, and this is required, that we provide a summary of all of the board members and the superintendent. And if you're wondering why it includes others like that are no longer on the board. The way School First works is that it's any expenditures that were incurred in that year. And if that was a board member and we incurred those expenses, at that time we have to include their expenses as well as the conflict of interest forms. And on the back of the booklet, we try to give you just a few facts about PAISD. Are there any questions?
Yes.
I've got it.
It's on.
Hello. Trustee Lawson, let the record reflect as well. Trustee Lawson was added, joined us in meeting on this afternoon. Trustee Reed.
Thank you, President Frank. Ms. Sheets, first of all, congratulations on this rating. Your department is, as always, is doing an excellent job for us as a school district. And this is something that helps our credibility and lets the taxpayers know that we're being good stewards of their dollars. Looking at number 8, I just would like an explanation of that. The score is 4. This is dealing with the ratio of long-term liabilities to total assets for the school district sufficient to support long-term solvency. Could you give me an explanation of that, please?
It measures the amount of debt that we have with our bonds, and it looks at it in comparison to what assets that we have, but it also looks at your number of students. And it's a little difficult in our school district because our student count is not going up, but we've purchased bonds to rebuild our schools. That kind of affects you in the manner, in an adverse relationship as to what is expected. We're not out of line, we have no solvency issues. However, they are keeping an eye on your number of students. He said, based on your number of students, your ratio of students to the amount of debt that you have is high.
So if we were to be asked this question from a member of the public, one of the taxpayers, could this rightfully be perceived as a negative for the district long term?
Yes and no. I think that if you look at what we're trying to do with the schools, with building new schools, I think that you will need to use that information in order for them to know. And they also understand that if they saw it as a negative, then our problems would be, we would have problems when we're doing, our rates would be going up because we would be, as your values go down, your tax rate goes up.
Yes.
We haven't done that. We made a guarantee to them that would keep their tax rates flat as a result of the bond. So that's the effect that a taxpayer would be concerned about.
So how would you answer the taxpaying community's ability to pay these bonds off over the long term, over the next 30 years, for example? Is this could this be an issue down the road? I mean, I'm not seeing it as one, but I would rather have your explanation than mine.
No, we have when we presented this information to you, we actually project all the way to 30 years our repayment plan. Again, we build into our plan the ability to pay the bonds based on a flat rate, but we also look at the tax assessed value. We don't usually put any growth in it, although we know we will have some growth. For example, we know that we've got a new Chapter 313. That's going to help us in our growth in Port Arthur, but we don't build any of that into it. So we have some flexibility. The information on our bonds and where we are is also on our website. And citizens can go out to our website under financial transparency and look at debt, and they will see where our debt is and where we are in regards to repayments.
Thank you.
Couple of questions. One question, Ms. James, if you don't mind. Since, it seems such a minuscule amount, 0.0066, but yet it carries such a weighted rate. You see what I'm saying? 0.0, the same question for number 8. They gave us a 4 for such a minuscule decrease.
This is their scale.
Wow. I was just trying to see if there was a correlation to its importance.
It's their scale, and again, they take those two measures. Notice that down here they said that if your school district is not increasing on the number of students, then it does affect you. I believe that's the one that indicates about the students. If the school district changes students in membership, right, over 5 years, so we don't have an increase.
The other question I wanted to ask was, it doesn't really pertain to this, but in regards to property taxes in the city, they're going to be decreased probably because of our correct?
Yes. We will see some decreases, but it should not affect our collections for this year, because those values have already been certified. Of course, they've had some changes as a result of appeals before the appraisal district, but it should not affect us this year. Going forward for next year, it might affect us, but the commissioner has indicated that they are working on something for this year that does not adversely affect us, as well as with the number of students.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you, Mrs. Smith. We appreciate it. Are there any public comments? Any public comments? There being no public comments, we will now have an adjournment of our school's first public hearing, and we will now go into closed meeting. Under the authority of Texas Government Code Sections 551.071 and 551.074, the board will meet in closed meeting to consult with the attorney regarding pending and contemplating litigation, including settlement offers and other legal matters, in which the duty of the attorney to the governmental body, Texas disciplinary rules of professional conduct, the state bar of Texas are clearly covered by attorney-client privilege. Consider personnel recommendations, Texas Government Code 551.074 as follows. Consider and if appropriate approve employment of teachers. Consider and if appropriate approve proposed termination of probationary contract of professional employees. We'll now go into closed session. Good evening. The time is 7:01. We're ready to come back into open session. We'll have public participation. There is none. Now we'll have staff reports about Hurricane Harvey and district innovation by Dr. Porter.
Thank you, President Frank and board members. As we move forward with the remediation of Hurricane Harvey, we are excited about the progress that we are making. There's a lot with the reconstruction of our facilities, and I think everything is going well. The two main facilities that were damaged the worst were the administration building and Adams Elementary. But there are things that we're finding every day. We often say that in 2005, when Rita hit, I think 2008, when Ike hit, those two hurricanes were wind damage. Wind is totally different from water, and we are experiencing that now. With Adams Elementary and the administration building, both have been remediated, so we are happy about that. URI has done a magnificent job at remediating both buildings. Now we are at the point of working with our architect to make sure the scope is done correctly, and to make sure all of our procurement methods are done appropriately, and we will go out for bids for those two facilities. With Adams Elementary, I think that Dr. Vine, Mrs. Triplett, Mrs. Jordan, and Mrs. Seastrong has done a magnificent job at making sure that the students have received the education that they need and to make them as comfortable as possible. We have to remember that this is something that we had no idea, and I think how things are moving, I think it shows that the teachers have been patient, the students have been patient, and they're doing well. Adams Elementary, we're not looking to go back into that school until middle or late spring. There's a lot that needs to be done, and there's a lot that needs to be ordered, along with the administration building. We do have portables that are coming to Dowling to help us with the number of students that are in each classroom. So that is forthcoming. The first portable is due to arrive November the 6th, and then there are two other double-wide portables that will be placed on the property in order for fifth graders, I think, to utilize those facilities. But the principals are doing well, as well as the students. So we do ask and continue to ask that our parents be patient with us as we move through this transition. It is a learning phase for us, but I do think that our staff and students are doing a magnificent job. As we move forward, we see that there are damages at other facilities that we have to address. We have public adjusters that are on the sites. We have hygienists that are looking for mold moisture remediation, and where the moisture is lying, to try to see where we have the most damage. So that is, if we do have a contractor that's out that we've hired to look at all of our roofs, to make sure that our roofs are, to assess every roof in the district. So we want to make sure that we do not miss anything. So when people say that we're moving a little slow, we want to move cautiously, maybe not slow, but very, very cautiously to make sure that everything is done properly. So we are moving in that direction. Administration building as well. Obviously we want our schools to get back in order first, and that's why we're paying close attention to Adams, and hopefully that school will be on the line first. And then any other school activities or school buildings that need to be addressed, we will address those issues. But things are going well. As I said, it is a learning curve for us, but things are going well, and I think the executive team, along with the principals and teachers, have done a magnificent job at getting back to school and making sure that our students are doing well. We have not forgotten that we have to teach our students. You know, even though we don't like to talk about it, there is an assessment that we have to think about that will be issued or delivered to us at the end of the school year. And we want our students to be prepared for that assessment. And we know that graduation is coming before us, and we want our students to have as much fun and to enjoy their senior year. So we want to make sure that everything is moving forward as quickly as possible. Any questions on the hurricane facilities? Okay. The next topic we'll discuss very briefly is that of district innovation. We are looking at moving to get approved for district innovation, and that was approved by the 84th legislative session. And that what we're really looking at is making sure we're trying to make sure that our school, the start of school, along with some other things, the start of school starts be able to start a little bit earlier than normal. This year we will end June 6th, and we are hoping to be able to do it a little sooner next year. It's a long process, and the board there's a committee that needs to be assigned to it. The board has to approve it. We have a 30-day waiting period, and it has to be online before the board approves it. And so we're going to go through the process with you and make sure you understand everything about the district innovation that we're trying to. If you look at everything that needs to happen, it's about a 4-month period that we'll have to go through the process. and I will give you everything that you need in order to understand every step.
Dr. Porter, what's our role in that? Do we have any role other than approving or any other things?
Well, of course, the board will look and see if there are certain items that you can look at to see if there's anything that you want us to look into. Right now, we're trying to just get it done. We understand that it is a long process, and we'll be able, it's a 5-year process that we want to implement. There are some things you can do: instruction, compensation. A lot of what's under the District of Innovation we already improving on, such as the compensation plan. The board has generously helped us to get our compensation plan higher this year than it was last year. We thank you all for that. But there are some more things that we can do. This year may not be the year to do it, but we can add to it as we move forward. But we'll look and maybe have some type of workshop so you'll understand everything about the District of Innovation that we need to know.
Dr. Porter, how would the District of Innovation help our community and our students?
As I said, there are different parts. First is you can look at it class size. You can look at start of class. There are certain things that we can do, and then certain things we can't do with District of Innovation. Anything that we do to better the instruction of our children helps our entire community. So as we look at it, we can see what's best for our district. There are several districts, well not several, there are a lot of districts that already have been approved for District of Innovation, but it's not a one-size-fits-all. It's not a one, everything that they've done, we would not be able to do everything that we would not fit them. So we look at our own district and we see where the needs are in Port Arthur, and we assess and we make sure that what we decide to do is best for our students. So anything that we decide to do is going to be for the betterment of the Port Arthur Independent School District. Therefore, would be better for the community, because we want our students to do better in all aspects.
Any other questions for me? Any other questions? Thank you, Dr. Porter. We'll now consider our minutes. Considering the appropriate approved minutes of the September 28, 2017 board meeting. Do I have a motion? We have a motion by Trustee Brown, second by Trustee Lofton. All those in favor say aye. Aye. We consider our consent agenda. The following items, which are of routine and reoccurring nature, have been designated consent agenda items by the board president for policy BE local. All of the items in the consent agenda will be acted upon by one vote without being discussed separately unless requested by a trustee, in which event the item or items will be withdrawn immediately for individual consideration in its formal sequence after the items not requiring separate discussion have been acted upon. Dr. Porter, will you understand?
Number 7, we will pull, and number 13 and 14 for the record, we want to amend, and we want it to be understood that each of these architects, we want them to be able to build out all of the.
So what about 13 and 14? We want those two architects to be able to draw the plans for all damaged facilities in our district. Not just the 3 that you see here, but all of them. The quicker we get it done, the better.
Any questions? Any questions? All right. So we'll be pulling are there any of the trustees want to be pulled? Any that you want to be pulled for discussion? All right. Chair will receive a motion to consider items 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18 on tonight. Do we have a motion? motion by trustee Lockwood, second by trustee Brown. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? So moved. Chair passes. Personnel.
President Frank, I have to do a list of teachers for your consideration.
Do we have a motion to consider the program approval report of teacher? Do we have a motion? So moved by trustee Barty, second by trustee Brown. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Consider it appropriate.
I am asking that the board approve the proposed termination of probationary contract of professional employee.
Trustees, consider it appropriate to approve proposed termination of probationary contract with professional employee. Do I have a motion? Motion by trustee Reed, second by trustee Lawson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Information.
Average daily attendance is 97%, 97.30%, and average daily enrollment 8160.
Have a motion for adjournment. Motion for adjournment by trustee Brown, second by trustee Barty. This is adjourned.